Hey everybody, welcome back to another digital making at home video. This week, me and my sidekick Xavier,
Hi.
we're going to be doing some stuff in BlocksCAD, aren't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing some 3D design. BlocksCAD is a lot like Scratch.
But
so
it's all maths.
It's all maths, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of like making animations and things, we just do heaps of 3D math, don't we? Lots of geometry, which is a bit tricky for you, isn't it? Because you haven't really done that at school yet.
No.
So we had to do a lot of learning, didn't we, to get BlocksCAD to work?
Yeah.
But it was okay in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you made cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we show these people how to do that today, eh?
Yeah, and there's lots of numbers in it.
Loads of numbers. Yeah, but we'll come to that in a sec, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Xavier to drive now, and we're going to duck across here to the project site so you can see what we're doing. We click Browse All Projects, and today, for our software, we want BlocksCAD. So that's just it here, and we click on BlocksCAD, and you see it narrows us down to these three projects here. And which one are we doing today, Zay?
This one.
The 3D bugs, fantastic. So we open up that project, and we can see here as we go down what you will make. You'll make this little 3D bug here, but you can mess around with your one and change the numbers. But for ease of math, we're just going to follow the instructions today, right?
Yeah.
We made some cool stuff earlier, but today we're just going to keep it simple so that everyone can follow along. So what you will learn today, it explains to you here, we're going to do some 3D modelling with geometric shapes, mostly with spheres, which we're going to stretch and skew and do weird things, and we're going to use scale to make that happen. So we go to the introduction, we'll step forward. So Zay, if you want to take over, you can just drive from here. So if you follow the project along and you click on the blockscad.com editor link at the top there where the first tick is, it will open up the BlocksCAD editor. But me and Xavier have already got one open. So Zay, if you click that top tick to say that we've done it, and then you can just change tabs across to our BlocksCAD to show everybody where we've got it and what it looks like. We'll give a bit of an explanation. So you can see here that BlocksCAD is very similar to Scratch in the way that's laid out. On the left there, you've got a bunch of menus. So show them where the menus are, Zay.
Menus.
Yeah, the one with all the 3D shapes and 2D shapes. And you can see they're laid out by colour. And as we work through the project today, our blocks in the project instructions have exactly the same colour.
Math.
It does say math, yeah. There's loads of math about to happen. You can see in the middle there's the workspace, which is where you drag all your code blocks, isn't it, Zay? We clip them together just like Scratch. And do you want to show everybody where the rendering space is? It shows our picture.
Yeah.
Where's that? That's here, isn't it? And so we can see
that's
that
where it's going to start. In the middle.
In the middle, yeah, at a datum.
See that.
Yeah, and so do you remember what the three axes are called? What the letters are that they have? What's the sideways one? It's the same letter as your name.
X.
And what's the up and down one?
Y.
And then the
Z.
third dimension is Z. Very good. And it took us a little while to get Z, didn't it? Because when we work in Scratch, we have X and we have Y. And when we work in 3D, we have Z, which is depth. Okay, so that's the ability for the shape to get bigger and smaller in that way.
This way. It goes flat, all the way like across, and Y goes up, and Z goes forwards.
Yeah, backwards and forwards, and that's depth. Fantastic. So we're going to be working with depth today. So if you haven't done 3D geometry before at school, that's okay. If you follow the instructions, it'll give you a nice little primer on exactly what geometric shapes are. We're working with mostly spheres, which is what you get when you make a circle and you take that out into 3 dimensions and it becomes nice and round like a ball shape. So to start with, Xavier, if you want to go back to the project site, let's have a look at our instructions. What do we need to do? Up a bit, where the tab is, that's it. So we need to start with what?
Start with sphere.
A sphere, yep, with radius of?
A radius of 10.
Fantastic.
The unit here is
Millimeters.
millimeters.
It's a tricky word, that one, right? So for the people at home, what that means is when you make a sphere in your project today and the radius is 10, that will be 10 millimeters in the real world. It will translate out to about a centimeter in the real world. So what we're going to do is click across, mate, and we're going to make our sphere with radius 10. So go back to BlocksCAD, that's it, and drag your 3D shape. And we want sphere with radius 10. So drag that in, that's the one, and Xavier just pop that in the workspace. So how do we get everyone to see our picture, Xavier? What do we click to show the sphere? We make the sphere in our render space. What's the button that we have to click?
Render at the very bottom.
That's it. So we click it, and it will make our sphere. Fantastic. So we got a sphere there that's radius 10. Can you change the colour of it, Zay?
Yeah,
How do
you
do
just
that?
press the square.
Yeah.
It's the same colour of it.
Cool, pick a new colour. Go on.
And then you can go into any of these colours.
Yep.
Like blue, red, any colour you want.
Yeah, so what are you going to pick?
I'll pick blue.
Cool. And that makes our sphere blue. It's just a cosmetic. And remembering that when you 3D print the thing,
colour.
and what will it mean when it 3D prints? What colour will it come out?
Black.
Or?
Pink.
Why?
Because if you have to do it because that's the only piece of cardboard.
Not cardboard.
Black plastic.
Right. So the filament that we have in our 3D printer, we're lucky enough to have a 3D printer here at home. And the filament that we have is pink and black. So whatever colours you guys pick in your project, it won't come out on the 3D printer. But when you make those files in 3D, they'll keep the colour in the file. But 3D printing, it's down to whatever filament you have in your 3D printer. So picking colours here... Yeah, go ahead.
Does it matter about the type of plastic you have?
It does. That's a good question about 3D printing.
Colour?
So there's different kinds of plastic. There's PLA and ABS are the two most common ones. And we have PLA in our printer. And both of those, we have black PLA and we have pink PLA. So when we print out, you get to pick what colour out of those two. But when we're working in the project today, we can make it any kind of colour that we want and save that file. Yeah? Cool. So back to the project site, because we've got our sphere. That's exactly what it wanted us to do. Okay, so you can click that tick. Click the tick. That's it, and go down a little bit. So now we're going to take our sphere, and you can see in the instructions here, we're going to be using a dark blue block, which is in our transforms, in the transforms menu. So we want to stretch it out a little bit to make a body shape. So rather than it being a nice round ball, we want our bug to be slightly long.
I was just about to say, you can make it a bit longer, because that's going to be the body, and then we're going to do the head, and then we're going to do the starts of the legs.
Yep. Cool. So what we'll do is let's go back to our project now, and we'll drag in our scale block. So that's a dark blue block.
That is a transform.
Scale.
That's a transform and goes to scale at the form.
That's it, and we're going to pop that in our workspace.
You can see, because there's a green.
Very good.
One. When I take this out, you can see a green bump.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's going to clip, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. So in our Y, because we want to stretch it along the Y axis, we're going to take that Y number and click in the little block there, Xavier, and make it 1.2.
1.
Okay, so you got to have the 1 before the decimal place, so 1.2. Cool, and then when you click render, it will change your picture. Okay, so it won't change automatically, you have to click render and then it works out what you want. And if you grab the picture and drag with the left mouse, you can move it around. Okay, we can see that our sphere is slightly longer than it was before. It's a little bit oval-shaped.
But you can make it a bit longer.
You can make it a bit longer if you want, but we'll leave it there for now today, just to keep it simple. So do you want to show everybody how you reset the view? What's the thing that you click to put it back so we can see?
It's like a target there.
Yep.
Next to
and you click it, and there we go, and it resets our view so that if we accidentally spin it upside down or get underneath and we want to go back to the way it was, we just click the target and it resets.
Like if you do like that.
Yep. We can reset.
Just press that. And now going back to the middle.
Nice. So let's go back to our instructions. We can tick that one because we made our bug's body a little bit longer.
Tick it.
Okay, and then down a bit. So what we're going to do here is, can you see how we're going to change another number in our Z axis? And what that's going to do is that's going to take our shape and it's going to squish it down a little bit, isn't it? It's not going to make it so round anymore. It's going to squish it a little bit flatter and make it more of like a domey bug shape.
Yeah, but it's not going to make it go flat like a table.
You could do that though if you wanted to, right?
Yeah, but that's not what, because that's going to be that's not going to be 3D.
Yeah, no, it'll be flat, right? It'll be 2D then, and it sort of defeats the purpose. Cool. So let's go back and change our Z number in our transform.
Yes,
so just in the last block there, that's it.
No.
So where it says ZZ at the end of your scale block, that's it. We want to change that to 0.8.
Okay, 0.8.
That's it, and then re-render.
Render.
And there we go, and it flattened it out a bit, didn't it? Made it a bit more squat for us. So that's cool. Should we go back to our instructions and see what the next step is? Awesome, so give it a tick. Yeah, and then flatten the base. So what this means is, when you do 3D printing, you need to have a nice flat bottom on the thing that you're printing, because if it's got a round spherical bottom, when you try and print it, the 3D printer will try and print that, and unless you make support for it, it will just wobble over. Okay, so we want to try and remove that and make the whole bottom of our thing nice and flat. We're going to cut it off where the 0 of our Z-axis is.
Wait, if you go back...
Yep.
Quick, you can see... If you move down, there's another one. All we're gonna do is not cut the whole thing, like the top. We're gonna cut on the line, which is right just there. We're gonna cut it right there.
We're gonna cut the bottom half off, aren't we? So it's nice and flat. It's gonna be like a half shape. Cool. So let's go back to our instructions and have a look at what we need to add. So what's our next block? We're gonna make. What shape is that, Xavier? What shape is that?
This?
Yeah. What shape is that? The yellow shape.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, it's a cube. Yeah, it's a cube. So we're going to go back and we're going to grab a cube block from our 3D shapes. See the one that says cube? That's it. Drag it in. Pop it down in the middle of your workspace anywhere it goes. That's fine. Okay, let's go back to our instructions and see what else we need to add. Okay, so we need a translate block. And so when we're working in 3D, everybody, we can do things like rotate and translate. And what translate means is you take your shape and you move it around. Okay, so we can move it up, move it down, left, right, forwards, backwards, all those sorts of things.
Like
let's
on your
translate.
keyboard, it's there. You can do all them.
Yep.
And movements, but you don't use these.
No. But it's the same thing, right? It's what you do when you have a game. We're translating that shape, so we're moving it around. So let's grab a translate block and clip it. So that's our transforms. Let's clip it around our cube. Around our cube. That's it.
See at the top.
Fantastic. So let's move them apart a bit to make them a little bit neater, so people can see that they're not linked up. Fantastic. That's it. Cool. And so we're going to make that cube, and we haven't rendered it yet, which is why our cube hasn't appeared. So we'll do that in a little minute, not just yet. So we're going to translate it, and what we want to do is we want to take that cube and we want to drop it down in our z-axis. So we want to put in our z-square, we want to put -5. So pop -5 in there, Zay. -5, yeah. -5. Cool. And then let's go back because we want to add, go to transforms. And we want to add colour. So pick a colour one and we'll just leave it as yellow for now because that's the way it is in the instructions.
The fifth one.
And clip it around your cube block, the one we just made.
Click it around.
That's it, around the whole thing. Up, up, up. Up. That's it. Bang. Okay, so move them apart again so they're nice and neat. Fantastic. And so now when we click render, we'll get our sphere that we've already made, and we'll also have it render a new cube for us that's yellow. Oh, but it's not quite right, is it? It looks a bit wonky.
Yeah, it's just in there. It's not really...
So let's go back at our instructions and have a look at what numbers we need to pop in there. So we want -5, but what we want with our cube is we want it to be 50, 50, and 10. And the important thing, the last thing, that drop-down menu that says centered, we need to make sure it's centered, not that the corner is at 0, 0, 0. We want the center of our cube to be at 0, 0, 0.
If you go back, that has to take that away, so but it says there.
There we go, fantastic. And we want to change those to 50 and 50.
Just leave that on there.
That's right, we do. We want to leave that. So 50 and 50. Great.
And just leave it. Like
yep, and then when we render, what happens when we render?
It's going to get bigger.
There we go. And so now if you move it around, Xavier, you can see that we've got a big cube, which is fine. The enormous cube is fine. We're about to turn that cube into a big eraser that will remove everything that's inside it. So we want it to be as big as possible. That's absolutely fine. It will cover all the parts of the bug that we might need to make in the future. So let's go back to our instructions and work out how to do that, Xavier. Do you remember? Okay, so click the tick because we've made our cube and it looks like that. That's fantastic. Let's go down a bit. If we want a difference block, so what colour is our difference block?
It's purple.
It's purple, and that's our set ops, so our set operations.
Under the normal one, transform.
No, it's under set operations. That's it. Click that one.
Yeah, under
and we want difference. So that's a minus. So you'll see it also tells you plus and minus in the block. So we want a minus. We want to have everything minus what's inside that cube. So let's pop our scale one in the top. So pop our sphere in the top hole. So you can move that over to the middle of the table. That's it. And drag that in. That's much easier to do. So drag your one into the top hole. That's it. And then the other one into the bottom hole.
This one?
Yep. And so what that will do is, before we click render, let's explain what we've done. So we're going to draw our sphere, and it's going to be minus everything that's inside where that cube appears. So if you render it now, Xavier, render our shape, and it's all gone. The only thing we have left is the bit of sphere that isn't inside the cube, and that's exactly what we want.
This is going to be the bug's body.
Awesome. Do you want to move it around, show everybody what your bug's body looks like?
At the
right, so it's all gone from underneath, so at the 0 point.
It's a different colour, but don't worry about that, because it's just going to come out the same colour, the whole thing.
That's right, and there's our bug's body. So let's reset our view.
It's going to be exactly
Pop,
the same.
there we go, and we go back to our instructions now. We're well on our way to making a bug. So we can click the tick there, and we can say add our head to the bug. So, what shape is the bug's body?
Kind of a...
What's the name for that shape? The ball shape. We've been saying it a lot. Sphere. Very good. So what shape will its head be? It's the same.
Same.
Right? Same. Sphere. Yeah. So here we go. So we want to add another sphere block.
Circle, but I guess again.
Yeah. So let's make a new sphere. So what could we do? How could we cheekily make a sphere very quickly? We did it earlier, do you remember? We have to
duplicate.
Click. There we go, because we always want to work smarter, never harder. So right click on there, yep, that's it, the blue block, and click duplicate, and we get a whole new setup. So move that away so people can see it. Okay, so you'll see that where we've got that sphere will be exactly the same as the sphere that we've already produced, and we don't really want that. We want to have a smaller sphere. So let's change the radius number, Xavier. Let's change that radius number down to 6. Okay, and so while Xavier's doing that, I'll explain to you, because when we work in shapes, if you have a circle, okay, the radius is this point from the middle of the circle out to the edge of that circle, okay? And with a sphere, the radius is the point from the dead center of the ball out to the edge of the ball. And so we're going to have one of our body that's got a radius of 10, so from the middle to the edge is 10 millimeters, and another one where from the middle to the edge is 6 millimeters. So,
because if it was 10, it'll be too big.
Yeah, well, it'd be the same size, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody's got a head the same size as their body. They look weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we click render, what's going to happen? Why can't we see our head? Look, oh, there we go. Interesting. So it's made it. We can tell that it's made it, but it hasn't quite removed it yet because it's not in our big chunk of code. It kind of looks like a half of an avocado there. It does look like a half of an avocado. That's a good point, man. So let's reset our view again. Let's hit the target. There we go. And so what we need to do now is if you go to set ops, Xavier, and choose union. So the purple menu and union, that's the top one. So this is a plus. So what we want to do here is when we have union, we're going to say take this and smoosh them together. Right? We want you to make them one big piece. And so we're going to grab our sphere with radius 10.
Sphere?
Yep. So the one that we made inside our difference block.
Here.
That's it. Grab it and drag it into the bottom hole of our union. And then we click the new block that we made into the top hole.
A new block?
Up the top there, the scale, that's it. Drag that one into the top. And then we put the whole union block inside the top hole of our difference block. Okay, so before we render...
It might look it'll be smushed, but it's just going to have another space.
Yeah, so before we render, let's explain to everybody what we're doing, okay? So what we have now is...
Can I tell them something?
Yeah, do.
Quickly. If you press plus, there's going to be extra space. See?
Yeah, but we don't need that right now, do we? So click the minus. That's a good point, but like, let's do that when it's relevant, yeah? Just throwing information in will confuse people. It's good that you know how to drive it, man, but let's run through the instructions briefly, yeah?
Okay.
Cool. So what we're going to do now is if we click render, what it's going to do is it's going to join those two spheres together for us, just like this, and it will chop the bottom off them because they're all inside that difference now. So you can see that it's got make a sphere, and then remove all the cube underneath. Now, why can't we see the head?
And because it's inside the bottom.
Right. So what do we need to do with it? We need to... What's the one? Translate?
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to move it. So let's go back to our instructions and have a look. Okay, so we can click that tick because we've got the sphere inside another sphere. So what we need to do is if you go down,
yep.
Okay, that one just there just tells you so you can remove the body. So if you right click on the body block, you can disable the block so that it doesn't work and it will just show you the head. But we're going to skip that part.
At the end, the head will look like that.
Yeah, cool. So click that tick up there, Xavier, the middle tick. Yeah, and then down to the next part. So we're going to translate along the y-axis. So get your transform and grab your translate block. That's it, and pop it in your workspace. Just in the middle of your workspace, that's it. Grab your top scale block. So the one that's for the sphere, up, that navy blue block. That's it. Nope, that's on. Grab that one and drag it into the translate block. Change the number in the y at the top there to 5.
Okay.
Yep. Make that say 5. Cool, and then drag the whole thing back into the top. That's it, let go.
Yeah.
And now when we render, it should
take the head out.
Make us a little head that sticks out. Let's have a look around. Where is it? Oh, it's not quite there yet. Interesting. So maybe what we need to do is add a bit more to the Y. Let's see if we can make that Y number a little bit bigger and see if the head appears. So that middle number of Y, that's it. Click in there.
You could just do 10.
Try it.
But sometimes it can go out of the body.
There it is. That's pretty cool.
You can make it a bit wider, but I wouldn't say.
Well, you can do that if you want, man. Scale it. Scale it along the x-axis if you want to make it fatter. Just change that next one down. That's translate. You want to scale it. That's it. So scale means that you're changing it along one direction. You're making it fatter or narrower along one direction. And the x-axis is the one you want to change.
Can you make the body a bit fatter?
If you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on then. Change it. Scale it. So you want to scale both of your spheres along the x. So you've got it selected already. If you make that number slightly bigger, 1 point something. Yep, the one you've already got selected. So you want it to be 1
point.
Hang on a sec. Look, you've written over the top of the number 1 there.
Yeah.
So 1 point.
5?
Sure.
I don't know.
So now render it again. And you'll see it will change the fatness of his head for us. Well, that's a pretty fat head.
The body.
Yeah, the body's the next one down. So if you scale the next one down.
We can change it.
So down here, down, next one down. Down, that's it, where it says scale X.
Here?
Yep, the one across. In the X block. And you can make that fatter now too. So 1 point
I
something.
don't want to make the head bigger.
Okay, we'll change it back in a minute. You want to make the body fatter?
Yeah.
Go on then, put it in.
Point.
1 point something. No, point something will make it smaller.
0.4.
Cool. Yeah. Did you want to make the head smaller, or are you happy with that now?
Smaller.
Okay, so that's it. Change the scale there. 1 point something smaller. Maybe like 1.2.
1.2.
Yeah, and then render. That better?
Yeah.
You digging that? Awesome.
But can you make it like that, like a thin and...
Yeah, just scale it up along the y-axis. But remember, the more we play with the numbers, the more we're going to have to think about the maths later. So it might be a good idea just for these purposes. I mean, we can play with ours all we want later, but let's just leave this one simple for the people at home.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back to our instructions.
Instructions.
Cool. So you can click that tick now because we've translated our head out of the body, all right? So we moved it along the y-axis. We slid it along the y-axis, which is translate. So now we can go back and change the colour of our head, can't we, to start making it look cool? And reminding everybody, so grab your colour block, which is transforms, yep, and you can grab that colour block.
Right there.
Yep, and you can clip it around the head one, which is the top block there. Up, up, up. Yeah, that's it, let go. And then grab your other one and clip it back in. That's it. Let go. Cool. So now change that colour of the head to something else. Change it like red or blue or black.
It gives you a whole list.
It does, doesn't it? Anything will do, man. Don't spend too much time picking a colour for right now.
Yeah, just pick... Guess I'll choose...
Cool. And then re-render. And we should see the head change colour just so we can detect that they're different parts. Pow. Awesome. Looking good. Good, man. Yep. Let's head back to our instructions. Excellent. We can tick that next box too, so we've played with that. And remember, everybody, when you 3D print it, okay, the colours we have in BlocksCAD won't necessarily translate to your 3D printer, unless you have a really fancy 3D printer that's got like multiple filament heads. But our one, we have to choose before we start, and we put the right colour plastic in. So, the next thing we want to do is it gives you a challenge here so you can change the colour of your bug body model. So you just do that the same way we changed the head colour. You just grab your colour block in, drag it in, click go. So let's click create legs. So this is the next part we want to do. We want to try and create some legs.
Now I'm getting really close to finishing it.
Yeah, we're nearly close, right? This is really good. You guys, you zipped through it this time. So we need to now make a pair of legs in the bug's body. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to make another sphere and we're going to stretch this one out big and narrow. So instead of having a nice round one, we're going to make it go like this and it's going to look like a pair of legs. Yeah, so let's do that now. So let's add another sphere. So if we go to your union block, if you click the plus on your screen there where it says union, click the plus up there, show everybody. Bang. Right, now we've got a new hole. How do we make a quick sphere? How do we quickly pop a sphere in there?
Duplicate.
Yep, loving it. Work smarter, not harder. So right click on scale. Duplicate. Excellent. And pop it straight in, yeah. Let's add a different colour to it so that we can see the legs will come out a different colour as well. Let's do that. So grab another colour block, Zay. Transforms and colour.
Colour.
That's it. Clip it around your bottom scale block there, that third sphere one. The one we just added.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Down, that's it. Clip him in there. And pop your block back inside.
Here.
That's it. Excellent. Okay, so you can leave that yellow. That's totally fine. And then what we need to do is we're going to make that sphere and we're going to make it really wide, aren't we, and fat. We're going to skew it out. So let's have a look at the instructions to see what they recommend we do. So we've got a sphere and it says there we want to scale it down. So we want to make the Y and the Z quite small and we want to make our radius bigger than the body. So let's do that now. Let's go back to our blocks. So make the radius bigger than the body. So what's that last number where it says radius 10? Let's make that a bit bigger.
Radius 20?
Whoa, that'll be massive. His legs will be twice as long as his body then. That's a bit too big. 13, 14, 15? Go for 15.
That's what I was going to.
Cool. And then we want to change our Y and Z numbers. Before you do that, change the Y and Z numbers down to like 0.3, I think. And then the last one, 0.3 as well.
This one?
Yeah. Cool. So what we've done there is we're going to have our X scale be 1.4. We're going to have our Y scale shrink right down, and our Z scale will also shrink right down. So when you render that now, Xavier, you should get some little yellow feet sticking out. There we go.
Oh, that's a bit too long.
No, they're cool. Leave them. I like it like that. It's cool legs. You don't like it? You can make it shorter if you want, man. Just change the radius. Okay.
And then
render.
You can do any. Yeah.
That's better?
Yeah,
I think that's now?
Pretty good.
Okay. So what we need to do now is instead of make a bunch of different legs, we're going to make another sphere, and then instead of just like making 6 different legs, we're going to make another long sphere, but we're going to twist it a little bit so it looks like he's got 6 legs. So let's click another plus in our union at the top there, so we can make another hole in our union block. So across there in your code, Xavier, the top block where it says union.
Union.
In your code, have a look in your blocks on the workspace.
Mm-hmm.
Where it says difference, the next one down is union. Click the plus, and again. So we're going to make 2 more spheres. Okay, so select your legs there, where it says color, yellow.
Color, here.
Yeah, duplicate that block.
I'll duplicate it.
And clip it into the hole underneath.
Here.
Yep, and duplicate it again. And click it into the hole underneath. There we go. So there we go. So now we've made 3 of these. What do we have to do with them though? We haven't twisted them yet, have we?
No.
Okay, so we need to go to some transforms. And this one, we want rotate. So translate is move it around. Rotate is spin it on the spot. Okay, so we're going to grab a rotate block and pop it in our workspace. Cool. Grab your second color yellow block, the one in the middle, next one up. That's it. Drag it into the rotate and pop that back in.
Whole thing.
That's it. The whole thing.
There.
And then you can do that again with another rotate block.
So just get one.
Yeah. Rotate. And then put your color block in.
Here.
Yep. And drag the whole thing back in. And then what we want to do is we want to change our rotate. So in your first one, so in the middle there where it says up a bit, up a bit. Yep. So in this block here,
yeah,
we want to change that number to 30. And you'll see that the little angular indicator will show you what 30 degrees looks like. That's how much we're going to twist our legs by. And then for the next one, we want, so, oh, that's okay. Make it 30, click.
And then.
Yep. Excellent, 30 degrees. And then for our next one down in the Z rotate,
here.
Down a bit, we're in the rotate block, which is 0 degrees. That's it, in there. We want to change that one. Now, you could put minus 30, because we want it to turn 30 degrees the other way. The other thing you could do is you could say 360 degrees minus 30 is 330 degrees. But we're lazy, so let's put in minus 30.
Okay.
Minus 30. And when you hit enter, it will automatically change to 330 degrees for you, because it's clever like that. So now when Xavier renders his picture, go on. It takes a little bit longer. The more complicated bits you add, the longer it takes. And there we go. We got a bug.
We've finished our bug.
Nice one. So let's go back to our instructions.
But we can make like spiders and things.
We can do all sorts of crazy stuff if we want. But we're running out of time today. We're right at the end of our video now. We've already been half an hour with everybody. Okay. So 3rd pair of legs. And we've done it. And the next challenge, the next step is to design your own bug. And you can do different stuff, can't you? We can make text. We can do all sorts of crazy things. But I'll add some bonus features videos again like I usually do. And I'll show you how to put your name on it and stuff like that. So once you've done that, everybody, what you do is you go back to BlocksCAD. Fantastic. And then down this bottom here, we won't click it just yet, but we'll show you where it is. So Xavier will show you the Generate STL button. So an STL is a special kind of file that you use in 3D graphing and things like that. You can generate that file and just load it into any 3D printer, and the 3D printer will make it for you.
Yep. The bottom corner.
Yep. Generate STL button in the bottom corner.
Next to render.
Next to render, that's right. So we click it, and it makes us a file. And you can see down here, mine is called Untitled, or Xavier's called Untitled because we didn't name it. So if you go up here and you call it something else, so we call it like, we're going to call it Excellent. And so now when Xavier clicks Generate STL, it will make a file with the name Bug2. So do it again. Click. There we go. And then you can see down the bottom left of our screen there, it says Bug2, which is the file that it just saved. So that's how to make a 3D bug. And what we'll do now is I'll go downstairs and pop it in a 3D printer, and I'll get that on tape for you guys so you can have a look and watch a 3D printer make the thing. Is there anything you wanted to add about making a bug?
Yeah. And when you make the bug and the legs and the body, you can make it really long. You can make the I think when you make the body a bit fatter and rounder and round, it'll 3D print it big and that and round.
Yeah, so we can scale it, can't we? So we can make our file here, and once you get it on the 3D printer, you can scale it up and down again. Ooh. So however big it comes out, if you've made it too big by accident, you don't want to use all that plastic, or mum or dad says you can't use that much filament, then you can scale it down inside the 3D printer and print it nice and small. Good work, dude. That's some complicated maths for a little dude.
Yep, but yeah? I got it still.
Yeah, you sure? You did get it. Like, do you understand a bit more about geometry and stuff now, and how 3D shapes and things work?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, man. That's some
I
complex.
learned 2D before is flat, like the table now, and paper.
Yep.
3D is round, like a Pokemon ball. If you even like Pokemon,
nice. Should we make some Pokemon balls for 3D printer?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that later, eh?
Yeah.
Nice. So let's say goodbye to everybody for now, and we'll see them next time, eh?
Bye.
Bye, gang. Bye.